hello, and welcome to round 2 of the 2025 MVP Music City Open presented by Another Round Disc Golf. We are out here on moving day, Saturday of the event. I'm Madison Walker.
I'm Erika Stinchcomb. We're the two hot geese.
Honk.
Honk. Honk to all. And on that note, honestly, check these out. We got brand new merch, classic Jomez dad hat with your favorite two hot geese on the side. Check out JomezPro.com/shop for all sorts of gear. We got whale socks, we got whale sacks, we got shirts, we got sweaters. You know what? Just go ahead and go look. Look, all of that stuff. It's going to be great. Thank you for being a fan of us.
Yay, finally some hats. Today we are going to watch Missy, Gannon, Silva, Saarinen, Evaliina, Salonen, and Kristin Lätt take on this boggy Nashville course. We got a lot of rain in the practice week. Thankfully, no rain today. We were forecasted maybe a little, but we managed to get through this round dry.
Yeah, pretty nice. Hole 1 is a par 3, 280 feet. Plays a little farther. It's uphill with a garden fairy green, as we like to call it. I feel like you definitely hear some secrets of the forest in here as you try to make your putt. I really like this change. It's a nice gettable birdie to start things out.
Missy, Gannon!
Missy shooting 7 down yesterday from an early card. If we haven't said this before, Missy Gannon is generally the first person out on the course to practice, and I think thrives in round 1 early card scenarios.
Yeah, she has the 7 a.m. tee time almost every day.
It's impressive. And one of 2 classic mistakes, hyzering out a little early, but getting a friendly little kick. She'll have an obstructed putt for birdie.
For Silva, Saarinen!
It was a bit less windy today. Check out Silva Saarinen, 100% C1X putting. It was really fun to watch her shoot 7 down yesterday. If you didn't watch it, go ahead and check that out first.
Yeah, it was a little windy at the beginning of the morning, but as the time went by, less gusts of wind. There was a bit of a headwind on this hole if there was any wind at all.
Yeah. Silva putting a good move on it. But
Evaliina, Salonen!
Evaliina finding the fairway as usual, one of the best disc throwers in the game.
78% C2 in regulation.
Yeah, giving herself all the looks.
Wow.
This course is pretty hard to score on for a mid-level FPO player. You don't see a lot of scoring separation. Only
Kristin Lätt!
Only the top competitors in the field are nabbing a ton of birdies. But a lot of players are happy with even par. I believe even par puts you in the top 10 right now.
It does. Even par was a tie for 9th. Kristin had a great round yesterday, just a few errors on the last couple holes. I'm sure she's looking to clean that up, and she'll have a putt from over there.
Good luck, everybody.
Silva made a putt like this from a similar distance yesterday. Looks a little more obstructed today. The ground was actually a little better.
Yeah, definitely.
In some places, but also like a little worse in some of the high traffic areas, but generally better.
Like mostly just around tee pads, which did make your feet a little bit muddy. Kind of an uncharacteristic miss from Silva.
Yeah.
It looks like she didn't consider something high in the trees. Lots of little ghost branches out here in these early spring conditions.
She's close though. Really strong bid from Evaliina, catches dead center band. Missy from just outside. She's in. As Madison was saying, and as we said yesterday, the par 4s are where the big distance players are able to score that maybe some of the rest of the field can't quite reach. Most of us are trying to score on these shorter par 3s. Kristin actually not left with a putt there. Silva converting the par. I believe 7 down was the hot round last year as well from both Kristin and Holland.
And Rebecca Cox.
And Rebecca Cox, thank you.
I think it was just Kristin and Rebecca Cox.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, was there 7 yesterday?
Yeah, there's 2. Yeah.
Okay.
Missy and Silva.
Oh, yeah. So that looks like the score to beat if you're hunting course records, which we all are.
Missy, the only player on our lead card to get the birdie. What a great putt to start. Ella Hansen starting 2 down through 3.
Here we are on hole 2, an uphill 530-foot par 4. Real quick, congrats to the Patreon winner, Ransom Widener. Congrats, you get that practice round.
From the practice round signed. And if you want to join, you can check it out at patreon.com/JomezPro.
And you can see this in this flyover. That first tee shot is the real kicker of the hole. It is a little bit narrow, but definitely a makeable gap. You can't hyzer out too much. There's no beeline over there on the left side. The second shot is can also get you into trouble if you're getting aggressive. There's a little corner of trees that can bring you some trouble. A distant sidearm is the play for the second shot on this hole, but you will see some turning backhands as well, landing pretty often in circle 2.
Missy out the gap nicely, but you usually want a little bit more turn than what she had to get super aggressive on the second. Silva in a similar spot. What a great gallery out here today. Wow.
Okay, Holland Hanley and Kristen Lott had hot rounds last year, and then Rebecca Cox the year before.
Okay, cool.
There we
Man,
go,
I was pretty confident in my fact.
Yeah, you were right. You were right.
Like, I thought it was more than probable.
Both of the geese are correct.
I love that for us.
I know.
Wow.
We did it.
Evaliina with that forehand. Madison was talking about Kristen going to follow suit here. Nice, powerful sidearm. Oh, I suppose you were talking about it on the second shot. It works for both, though. I think sidearm would be like a really baller play. Not a lot of ladies can do that. This is what you usually see, but this more often than not ends up in circle 2. Which is fine.
Yep, and on the heat map, that is red hot. You see people putting from there all the time. This hole is pretty tough to birdie because you often see circle 2 putts, and you don't want to run this one hard. It drops off behind the basket, and you can get rollaways pretty easily. So if you do see people running it, it's a soft bid.
Kristen with a great shot to get to the edge of the circle. I highly encourage our viewers today to check out the sky at any opportunity you can. The clouds were wild today.
Yeah, we were wow, what a shot from Silva. We were right on the edge of a storm front all day. It was passing by north of us, and we got some pretty spectacular, really dark clouds all around.
Stunning. Evaliina with the forehand play, leaving it nice and wide, looking for some ground play.
Mill Ridge is up on a hill, too, so you kind of have a vista at all times.
Ooh. That'll be my next book of poems coming out.
Here is Missy from about 58 feet.
Love it. Strong bid.
Only 5 players got to circle 1 in regulation, and we have 3 of them on our feature card.
Impressive.
Or our lead card.
It's both. Our featured lead card. Kristen coming up short. Evaliina, about a 25-footer. Nice tester to get things going, and she jams it in there. Love to see it.
Yeah, nice confident high miss on hole 1, following it up with dead center chains here on hole 2. Evaliina, one of only 4 birdies on hole 2.
Silva got this one yesterday, too. I wonder if she's the only person who's gotten it both days.
I like this probable stat.
Pretty probable. I was just assuming she made that because she's a great putter.
Yes. Yes. Katrina got it both days as well.
Nice.
Shout out Katrina Allen.
Yeah, it's very impressive. Silva gonna tie it right back up with Missy after that hole. Evaliina gonna pull ahead of Kristen there into solo third as well.
Hey, aren't you Anthony Barella?
Yes, sir. Try out this Venom.
Thanks, man.
Man, this is the best disc ever. It goes 1,000 feet
Hey,
easily.
hurry up, man. You're taking forever.
Sorry, man. No 30-second rule here. What about that 100% off player discount?
Hole 3, a par 4, 549 feet. You're going uphill, trying to either line up this gap, or most of our lead card ladies are going to try to shoot through the gap and leave a nice open shot to the pin. It's definitely guarded heavily on either side. Those are very dense groupings of trees. One guardian tree dead center catches a lot, and there's rough 20 feet behind the basket, maybe 22 feet behind, that can leave some very difficult putts for you. So got to come in with a really particular speed. First things first, get to the gap. I think early left is the worst mistake.
You see a lot of players just laying up to the gap, not trying to mess around with getting tangled up in the trees, but you also see a lot of competitors trusting and going through this gap. Silva with a huge shot that looked absolutely effortless.
And you're very much rewarded for hitting that gap. I've been laying up, and then, I don't know, I think I'm just going to send it.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, I think that's the play.
Way easier second shot.
The one thing tricky about this hole is you can't feel the wind at the tee pad, but once
True.
you get up at the top of this hill, sometimes it's a headwind or a crosswind, and you can't quite account for it. So you will see the discs have a little extra movement as they're cresting the hill and moving through that gap.
Evaliina and Missy finding the gap, but both just a touch low. We'll see what they have left. Kristin threw one of the biggest shots I've ever seen through the gap yesterday. This is also phenomenal. It's fun to see the field progress. This used to be a very difficult gap to hit. And the pin used to be, 120 feet shorter? They've moved it, and we're still figuring it out. So always fun to watch the progression.
And I feel like this is a theme of the course. You have gaps to get to the basket, but they're when you're approaching the green, they're close to the basket. And I don't want to say a poke and hope, but they're so far away that you're not really picking one major gap. It's like a series of all hittable gaps, but it's kind of a thing on this course where you can find yourself getting tangled up in circle 2 very regularly.
Yeah, very true. I found circle 2 15 different times in the last 2 rounds, which is like in that way.
Yeah. And a great example on the stats, only 9 players got to circle 1 regulation, where 23 got to circle 2 in regulation.
Love being backed up by the stats.
Me too.
Kristin had the same shot yesterday. She went backhand and pulled it very far to the right. This looks like a really great correction into the bullseye with the forehand BT medium harp. Just a reminder for those of you who didn't watch yesterday or just generally don't pay attention, Kristin is the 2-time winner of this the last 2 years, looking for a three-peat here.
Silva going a little bit deep, going to find that rough. Still inside the circle. We'll see what she has to deal with on her putt for birdie.
Evaliina from circle 2. Leaves it a little short. Got 15 feet left for her par. Missy's already made one of these circle 2 putts. Oh, gets all of the all of the basket.
Silva heading into the woods, as players find themselves doing regularly here. This is
Yeah.
a hot spot on the heat map.
I do wish this was just a bit cleaner.
Yeah, I was in here today. It's very brutal. The fact that she's able to swing her arm is a miracle. Oh my gosh, and
Wow.
she almost cashes.
Great run. Evaliina confident on the putting green, in for par. Kristin gonna tap in her first birdie of the round.
One of 9 birdies on hole 3 today. This is I think it's a good hole. I like the change, but it is one that you can very easily bogey as well.
Yeah, this one does feel like a good separating hole.
Yep. I agree.
Yeah. Kristin going to tie it back up with Evaliina at 4 down. It's like Cadence Burge and Holland Hanley having a good round. Kat Murch 4 down through, it looked like 10.
She was on my card shredding. Here it was the hardest hole yesterday. We had a headwind today. That wind was non-existent. We had a lot easier time off the tee pad, but there is still OB everywhere. That corner OB on the right side, that looks like a little peanut over there. It can come into play trying not to hyzer out of bounds left. You see all sorts of stuff off the tee. It's just about how much you want to bite off, because this second shot is bigger than it looks. And that OB comes up really quick on the left side of the green trying to throw a hyzer. The trick today was there was a secret hidden wind that you couldn't feel until after you released your disc on your second shot, a right to left crosswind that made hyzers just carry straight out of bounds left. I saw it a couple times on my card.
I love the forehand here. Kristin with enough power to get past the peanut, which is all I will ever see and think from this point forward. Thank you.
Silva going out of bounds, worst case scenario, early on the peanut. She's going to be blinded by the peanut as well. She will be able to take it back, though, so she might be able to get a good enough angle to still be able to try to approach the green.
It's going to be tricky from there, though. She'll need a turning shot that it's
She
just gonna be
really has
tricky.
to trust.
Yeah. Evaliina with a big forehand to a perfect spot.
Forehand definitely is the way here, but you do have to have some distance on it. It played as the most difficult hole again today.
Oh, wow. That's actually surprising. I thought maybe with a slightly different and lesser wind, it might.
No, listen to
The-
this.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I was just thinking hole 8 might be the hardest.
Yeah, and the wind was lesser, and I don't know, it seems like it'd be more manageable, but there were 34 OB strokes on this hole, yeah.
And we have, 49 competitors?
Yep.
Ouch.
Ooh, Silva going to try to take a knee here.
Peanut did her dirty, you know?
Yes, it did.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
That's
Double
headed
dirty.
Straight out of bounds. Not laughing at the shot. Just laughing at us. And what are we doing?
Hopefully they don't clip this one.
Missy with a really nice backhand drive up to where Evaliina and Kristin's forehand drives landed. It's an impressive shot. And giving this some nice width here, but not trying to get crazy aggressive.
Getting some nice ground play, though. She will be blocked by one of the two groupings of trees that are just perfectly placed.
Yeah, I think this one's just a touch too punishing. The OB on the left could definitely be quite a bit wider. Even, I don't know, even like 15, 20 feet would make a huge difference.
Oh, what a shot.
Wow, sweet.
Almost a perfect shot from Evaliina. Still not bad.
I think it
Sneaking
was
through that
perfect.
one tree.
The old jump and squeeze, you know.
That's what they call it.
Don't agree. That is what they call it. All right.
Kristin closest to the pin. She got the memo about the left to right crosswind, reads it appropriately. She is still going to be on the left side of the green and have a bit of a headwind putt. Depending on the gust, if there was wind today, it was gusty. There was not a sustained wind anywhere on the course that I noticed. We did not have a spotter on this hole. It was a bit difficult to try to decide where discs went out of bounds, as it is on roped OB, especially on big flat holes where the OB is curving.
Silva already throwing 4. Just looking to put this one close and get out of here with a double.
A really tricky, touchy little shot going under those branches, but getting enough spin to get all the way to the basket. She does a great job.
Missy still outside circle 2 here, just looking to put it close. And that's good enough for sure. Kristin from 35 for birdie. Oh, man. Strong run.
Looks like there's
Looks
no
calm,
wind.
yeah.
That's surprising.
But like you said, it really was
It was
just
crazy on my card.
gusty. Well, when I came through, it was headwind on the tee, but then the
Really?
green wasn't even that crazy. Oh, what a bad break.
That was mean.
Man, and this isn't an easy putt coming back, just a little uphill to the elevated pin. Yeah, that is such a bummer. Yep.
Silva making a good putt to save her double bogey. And you can see right here with the best players of the weekend right now how this hole can very quickly be doubled. There was only 4 birdies today. I'll shout them out. Jennifer Allen, Allie Smith, Jessica Weiss, and Holland Hanley with the 3s. 8 people got to circle 1 in regulation and only 14 to circle 2. This one's tough.
Mm-hmm. Wonder if it'll play the hardest tomorrow.
Wow, 60% of the field with a bogey or worse. Wow.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Whoops.
Averaging at almost a full stroke over par both days.
Let's just move on.
Yeah, chase card check-in. Holland Hanley, we've been mentioning her name a lot and all year.
Yeah, very true. Pretty much every day that we're doing this,
Yep.
actually.
She's ahead on 6.
What a drive.
That's huge.
She's almost to the secondary tunnel.
She's going to be,
Wow.
wow.
Yeah, right?
She's in the tunnel.
That's what I'm saying.
This is just a little buzz.
Just a little pitch.
She didn't even need
Uh-oh.
a buzz. She didn't even need a buzz. She could have thrown a putter.
A little lucky to stay in bounds, it looks like, but nothing lucky about that putt. Wow.
No way. That's amazing. What a 3 from Holland Hanley.
I also feel like I say this a lot, but that's the farthest drive I've seen on this hole. Everyone keeps getting better, so.
We say it literally every weekend.
Well, they keep getting better.
And unfortunately, the first new colors on our cards are the double bogey purple.
The color of the wind. Hole 5 is a par 3, 315 feet. I like the sidearm out to the left. That's generally what you're going to see. That's what the drone is flying. You can go to the right, but it's a very narrow tunnel. That little middle section of trees is super dense, and there's OB on the right. So you don't see a ton of ladies going that way. Backhand turnover can work, particularly if there's a left to right crosswind, which there was today, at least when I came through. But it's much, much trickier to get inside the circle and have an easy putt.
This green is pretty low and doesn't have a lot of drainage.
Yeah.
So you don't get as much skip as you're used to here or as you would like. Kristin trying to take more of a spike hyzer approach and letting it glide in the air all the way there. And that's what you have to do. You can't do the low linear shot and hope for the ground play.
Missy going forehand. Love to see it. Puts it out nice and wide. It just needs to fade.
And that's a red hot spot on the heat map. See a lot of circle 2 putts. This basket is just so tucked to the right. You almost, on the forehand, have to hug the trees a little bit unless you have a very powerful forehand. Silva, one of the few to take this right gap, leaves it low as a safety precaution and doesn't get it all the way there.
It also, did you see it, like skibbled over to the left, and it's going to be in that grouping of little stick trees. It's unbelievably dense in there. Evaliina giving it some nice power here. She's going to find the circle. Yeah, tricky little shot from Silva here, but she makes it look easy.
Here's Missy from deep in circle 2 for a birdie look. "12 competitors got to circle 1 in regulation, 34 to circle 2. Again, just the story of this course. Much easier to get to circle 2.
Beautiful putt from Evaliina. And what a bounce back. Kristin for her birdie.
Evaliina and Kristin, 2 of 14 birdies today. Shout out to Trinity Bryant, Owen Scoggins, and Leah Sinigini for parking this hole. And a nice little recovery shot from Silva to save that par.
Missy with a 2-stroke lead after that double from Silva on the last hole. And Kristin only 3 strokes back now. Ella Hansen 4 down through 7. Kat Murch 5 down through 12.
Here is the par 4 we just watched Holland throw, the farthest drive we've ever seen on. You want to get through these trees right here and not carry at all to the right. That OB line comes up so fast past that big tree. Left side is not out of bounds in the tree line. It's a little bit past, so you do have a little wiggle room if you want to play more aggressive to that side, but it is rough to scramble from. Ideally, you land right in the middle of the fairway and set up your second shot to this very well protected green down a long tunnel that I think just calls perfectly for an overstable mid-range.
Mm-hmm.
Kristin flirting with that right side.
Oh, nice little break there. Good distance on that drive.
Look at that beautiful dogwood tree to the left of the tee pad.
Evaliina putting quite a move on this one. Champion Thunderbird gets way down there, about as far as Holland did, but she's going to find that casual creek over there. It's gnarly over there. Missy a little bit low and linear. You want it farther than that to get the birdie. I'll be surprised if she has better than a circle 2 look from there.
Yeah, and that's kind of the typical mistake here. Just a little scared of that OB line, keeping it a little too low. Silva floating this disc really nicely. She's in a perfect landing spot. Missy probably pulling out a thrasher here, trying to go big. It is still able to be birdied from there, but she would have had to be way more aggressive.
Yeah, that was definitely just a little low, same as her drive, but should be a simple par. Center cut's always nice. The more I see people go from this right side, the more I actually kind of like it.
Yeah.
I didn't think I did, but it's kind of worth it to maybe push that right side OB. Kristin, maybe some footing issues there. That was just a little bit sawed off out of her hand, but makes some nice forward progression. She's getting some love on this hole.
Man.
How did it bounce out of a creek upwards?
It made it through every tree and then bounced out of the creek.
Pretty cool. Silva going standstill. She's what, like 225 away?
Maybe a little bit more than that.
Okay.
And then really nice power on that standstill shot to circle 2.
She makes it look like 225.
She sure does.
Yeah, maybe like 268.
Yeah, that shot she threw through the gap on 4, like, it's just, that's so far. Or 2, I mean.
Mm-hmm.
It's so far, and she made it look so easy.
Evaliina nearly having to pitch backwards just to get out of there. Puts a lot of pressure on this final approach shot to get the par.
It's funny, this hole used to just absolutely wreck people.
I know. And now you're thinking you got to get a birdie look.
It's in the, top half of the easiest holes. This used to be just the hardest hole for FPO.
We did used to also go from the MPO tee pad, which was horrible. It made the drive so awful.
You're right.
And
Evaliina floating her shot to the green, no problem.
beautiful.
This is one of the few greens that's more wide open, not guarded at the circle 2 boundary.
Missy floating a little hyzer shot. I like that. It's not really her typical style of approach, but it's my favorite personally. Silva from just outside the circle for a birdie. Great putt.
So true.
Me or the putt?
The putt, but both.
And Kristin from inside, little straddle.
I love this hole.
Yeah, me too. I think it's one of the few par fours you feel like you need to get a look for birdie.
Yep.
The entire field.
And you feel comfortable attacking on as well.
Yes.
Feels fair, very fair. Kristin really capitalizing on some good breaks.
So true.
And Evaliina scrambling well to get that par.
Two birdies, two pars. Pretty good for the card on 6.
And check out those clouds.
Right? I liked when the low part of the sky was super dark, but then you had the bright white ones over top. I was like having a hard time watching my card mates throw. I was just like mouth open looking at the clouds.
My whole card was, we were all just like spinning around in circles
Yeah.
looking.
Sounds beautiful. Twirling,
Yeah.
throwing flowers in the air. Hole 7 is a par 3, 335 feet. A blind shot, but you just aim at that little golden tree over there on the right on a hyzer, or maybe just a straight pushing shot with a stable disc that hyzers at the end. You want to be careful though, not get too much ground play on this right to left sloping green that heads straight towards an out of bounds line. And some of the power players are going to have trouble not throwing it too hard and finding the OB deep as well. This one I think is in contention for easiest hole on the course. There's not that much danger, and most of us are going to get a look at it for a birdie. But also those clouds, right?
Today we had a left to right wind on this hole, maybe a little bit of a headwind as well, just depending on the moment.
I wrote right to left tail. That's what it was when I went through.
It was left to right when I went through.
Yeah.
With a little heady.
Yeah.
Got
So
swirly.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. That's pretty regular out here. Also, with the storm front pushing through, you could like see there was 2 layers of clouds and they were moving in opposite directions. We
Yeah.
watched that for a while.
Pretty awesome.
The atmosphere was unstable, to say the least.
On the card or in the sky? Silva going to find the circle with a nice shot there. Oh, man. Let's just watch the sky for a couple hours, you know?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Only a couple. And what a great spike hyzer from Evaliina on the low side, putting back up at this elevated basket.
What a cool shot to spike like that. She's going Halo Star Firebird there. Silva went Neutron Balance. Missy with more of the linear shot. That's more the typical shot you see, and she absolutely parks it. That's her Z Swirl Undertaker.
Kristin from the tall grass, a very common landing spot, making sure to stay away from OB.
Footing is rough in there.
It is, and putting back at the OB. She gives it a soft bid and almost converts the birdie.
Yeah, it is very moist in there, very squishy. Silva in for birdie. 2 in a row.
This played as the second easiest hole of the day today, with almost 40% of the field birdieing.
Do you think, which of the other 2 easiest, nice putt from Evaliina there, do you think is the easiest hole today?
I think it's going to be 17.
Okay.
No, I mean,
Wait,
sorry, 16.
16?
Yeah.
I'm going to switch. I'm going to go 13.
Okay.
Kristin going to take the par, the rest of our lead card with the birdie, demonstrating why this is the second easiest hole. Despite the literal opposite winds half an hour apart.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
That is weird.
It was weird to hear you
But not
say the
surprising.
exact opposite thing that I was reading. And wow, top of the field playing really well today. Everyone under par nicely.
Hole 8, a simple hyzer shot over this ditch. We're on the same plane as the last hole, but the wind reflected what Erika said. It was, I feel like, more of a tail right to left on this hole.
That's what I wrote too.
You just want to try to get as far left as possible, but this is kind of one of those unbirdieable par 4s. We could see some birdies. The FPO field is doing some wild stuff, but it's not one that most mid-level FPO players are putting in their little game book of ones to get. This one, you're just trying to get your par. The second shot is really, really important because you have to make sure you land either way right on the fairway or way left, aka way high on the hill or way low.
I love the straight shot that Silva just threw. She went fission defy there because that footing is way better at the top of the hill, or way high, as you said.
Yep.
In the little game book.
Way high.
Which I like a lot. Little game book.
Yeah, your game book.
Evaliina
down.
Going more of a hyzer on the low side. Footing is definitely a bit trickier there depending on where you land. Missy's center cut.
This played as one of the more difficult holes yesterday. Today, the second most difficult hole.
Wasn't it the second yesterday too?
Yep.
And then I believe Paige Pierce was the only birdie, and she had to have at least been in circle 2 because no one got to circle 1. And a nice big hyzer from Kristin, and up on the high side, which is nice.
That was a huge shot. So Missy looking like she's lining up her disc to be on the high side. Up in those golden flowers is good enough to be able to approach. You just have to make sure you don't filter towards the middle because that wall of trees is worse than it looks.
Yeah, it really is.
Wow.
Man, Missy flipping that up so nicely.
That was crushed.
Yeah, that's a bomb. But she's still like, what, 100 feet away at least?
And it's a technical little shot.
This is a huge tee shot.
Yeah, Silva just in front of the drop zone. She's just trying to throw straight at these trees.
I don't know.
No,
she looked
she's
a
trying
little
to go right side.
Yeah,
Okay.
she looked a little disappointed out of her hand.
Yeah, maybe some weird footing and a little bit of an early release. That was not a bad kick, though.
Yeah, it had such good power on it. It looked like it could have gotten there. Evaliina looking like she's trying to get a putt.
Oh, and it gets tangled up on the little line of logs as if this hole wasn't hard enough. Let's take away the skip.
Logged.
Beavers would love it here.
Kristin,
Wow.
man, such a far tee shot. And
Wow.
she's going to get a putt, isn't she? No. Okay.
Where is she?
She's in the circle.
Oh
She's
my
almost in the bullseye.
gosh. No one does this.
Amazing. She went orbit rive on the drive.
Wow. That's amazing.
I mean, yeah, literally no one else did that yesterday or
today.
maybe ever.
2 people got to circle 1 in regulation. 2.
Okay.
Wow.
Still impressive.
Only 5 got to circle 2. That is crazy.
It is nuts.
And Kristin almost gets to the bullseye.
Silva pitching up nicely.
Evaliina with 2 incredible shots, still having this long approachy style putt.
Man, that's wild. Missy just inside for par, going downhill left to right. It looks like wind. She misses left side.
Yeah, a little bit of a tester there. This hole averaged at 0.6 over par. You're not happy about taking a 5, but it doesn't feel terrible.
It's one of the few holes that it doesn't feel terrible. Just
But the
mildly
FPO really
bad.
Yeah, the FPO really cleaned up today. This one averaged at almost a full stroke over par yesterday. Not quite as many bogeys. A lot of pars today.
Missy with her first bogey of the round. Going to be tied with Silva after losing that stroke. Kristin to come within 1 of the lead with an absolute highlight birdie there.
The only birdie of the day today.
Wow. And 4 down through 8, bogey free. She is looking clean out there.
So Silva and Evaliina with some impressive pars as well. Just like that, we've got 3 people contending. Oh, wow! Everyone's gotten tightened up a little bit at the top.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. Competitive.
Yeah.
Moving day. And let's wrap up the front 9 with a par 4, 648 feet. Either a turning or maybe slight flexing backhand shot or a big forehand off the tee. Second shot really calls for a big forehand. You can make the backhand turnover work, but there's a lot of trouble if you fade out. There's OB on the left. If you go deep, there's a million trees in the way. You can cut roll. There's lots of problems. Also, there's a little, I like the forehand. There's a little grouping of trees kind of short right that you absolutely need to get around. It can be a nightmare in there.
It's not out of bounds, but it is brutal to recover from. You're looking at a pitch out more often than not.
All right.
This tee shot's very fun.
I wrote down right to left crosswind here. What do you remember?
Yeah, that's what I had.
Cool. Okay.
Oh, and Kristin
Wow.
making catch cam dance.
That's how you know it's really good. Silva putting a nice move on her drive as well. Make him dance.
Getting just as much distance, but now he's in a good spot. And it's good to be a little bit further left. It really opens up the second shot to the green. Evaliina putting a lot more turn on this than I think she intended, but there's
know.
room.
Wow.
Holy moly.
She outdrives him by like 50 feet. Jeez, what are we doing?
I don't know.
I like how
Incredible.
Evelina's whole body goes into the throw. You know when she goes big.
Missy's like, okay, well, watch me work.
Check out this slight hyzer flip.
Is this big distance Missy here?
I mean, that's a fantastic shot.
It's perfect.
It's really good, but I'm curious how much shorter she is than the others. Those were all crazy. Look at how far they are.
Yeah, that's unreal.
Like 100 feet farther.
Missy's sitting probably about 30?
Yeah,
out?
I think at least.
Yeah, maybe more.
Maybe slightly more.
And this needs to settle down. There's no beeline back there. I think she gets caught up in the trees before it finds the OB line.
I
But
feel
it is rough over
Really
there.
justified in my flyover. That's exactly what I describe as a problem on the backhand.
It's so hard to get out of those trees.
That's a little early.
Yeah, Kristin trying to work the hyzer flip. It doesn't quite get the flip she was wanting. A friendly little kick out of those trees, though.
Yeah, definitely could be worse. Silva going standstill, turnover. Maybe not quite wide enough. She looks a little frustrated with that effort. At least she's on the edge.
Yeah, and it's better to miss on the right side for sure of the green.
Kind of surprising not to see any of these ladies inside the circle yet. Let's see if Evaliina can do it. Look how freaking far she is. She's chipping.
She is chipping, and a perfect chip.
What, that's like 270? Not even.
Not even.
That's crazy.
That is insane.
Kristin in a very boggy area there. Watch her step. I landed there again today. It's so wet.
Squidward.
Yep.
Here is Missy in the worst spot. It's so bad in here.
Oh, man. You could just see her little head. Oh, man. She used to go forehand, too.
Probably the only way she can swing her arm and just
Oh.
right into a sea of small trees. There's nothing else to do.
Yeah, and that's going to be tricky to save par. Oh, she's got nothing.
Yeah,
It's even worse than I remember.
Yeah, it's almost not even worth it to try to attack if you're going to miss left. There's nothing over there.
Yeah. Man, that's stacked up quickly for Missy.
Silva on the slightly friendlier right side. Still some low-hanging branches to have to deal with.
She got closer than I thought. She's got a putt. Wow.
Well, it just makes it look so easy.
What a finish. Just that one double bogey blemish. Otherwise, a nice clean round.
Silva, 1 of 9 birdies on hole 9.
Evaliina going to join her. That's going to be a 2-stroke swing here between Missy and Silva. And Kristin now tied with Missy Gannon for second place. A lot of movement. Oh, Cat Merch 9 down through 17.
Yeah, she was shredding. She was shredding all day.
Wow.
Made every putt.
A lot happening here on the front 9. Lots more to go. Lots more clouds to look at and bask in.
Lots more roped OB. So really anything can happen at any time. A little bit of a front starts to push through, so there is a little wind that picks up as the time goes by. But looks like to be in the top 10, you got to be around even par, holding strong there. And then as you move down the field, not as much scoring separation. Here's where you see people that aren't throwing as consistently as far. This course really does demand controlled distance shots.
It truly does. We are still on a quest, people, to get 500,000 subscribers on the Jomez YouTube. So subscribe, click the bells,
Ding the bells.
Ding the bells. Yes, sorry. And join us again for the back nine. I'm Erika Stinchcomb.
I'm Madison Walker. We're your two hotkeys.
Honk honk.